I used to think the human body was fragile. I thought a car crash or a few minutes underwater meant it was game over. I was completely wrong. When rescue isn't coming and your brain screams at you to give up, your body turns into a biological machine programmed to survive at all costs. I'm going to walk you through 8 escalating levels of impossible human survival. Each level is more terrifying than the last. By the time we hit level 8, you'll be begging the universe to just let it end. Level 1. Let's start at 14,000 feet. The airplane door opens, and you jump. You're in freefall at 130 miles per hour. It's the ultimate rush. Until you pull your ripcord, and absolutely nothing happens. You yank the reserve, but it tangles into a useless knot. The ground rushes up fast. You smash directly into a field. Your spine, ribs, and pelvis shatter. You are actively dying in the dirt. But then, a blinding, fiery pain rips through your skin. You crash directly onto a massive mound of venomous fire ants. Over 200 ants violently sting your broken body. Normally this venom would kill you, but the blinding shock triggers a massive adrenaline dump. That toxic acid actually shocks your failing heart back into a steady rhythm. You survived falling from the sky. But what happens when the threat surrounds you in total darkness? Level 2. Imagine you're sleeping below the deck of a commercial tugboat. Out of nowhere, a freak ocean wave strikes, and the entire vessel violently flips upside down. Icy saltwater rushes in. The heavy steel boat sinks instantly, hitting the ocean floor 100 feet down. You are trapped in a freezing bathroom. The water rises terrifyingly fast, but miraculously stops just inches below the ceiling. You have a tiny pocket of air. You are completely blind. No food. Hours turn into days. You hear sharks picking at your crewmates right outside the door. 3 entire days pass in the abyss. Your oxygen is almost gone. Then, a rescue diver swims into your flooded room, expecting to find a corpse. Instead, your cold hand violently grabs his wrist. The diver literally screams in terror. You just survived 3 days buried alive underwater. But what if the space shrinks until you can't move? Level 3. You are hiking alone in a dead silent desert canyon. Suddenly, the earth shifts. An 800-pound boulder dislodges and violently crushes your right arm against the canyon wall. You are completely pinned. You pull with all your strength. The rock doesn't move a single millimeter. Nobody knows where you are. 5 full days go by. You run out of water. You resort to drinking your own urine. Your body is rapidly shutting down. You realize a terrifying truth. If you stay pinned, you die here. You look at the cheap, dull pocket knife in your left hand. The blade is too dull to cut bone, so you have to use the boulder to physically snap your own arm bones in half. The pain is blinding. You use the dull knife to saw through the remaining muscle. You leave your severed arm pinned against the wall forever. You survived, but what if the nightmare hits faster than you can blink? Level 4. You're sitting in a window seat on a normal airplane, cruising at 33,000 feet. Suddenly, a deafening explosion rips through the cabin. The metal roof tears wide open. Before you can reach your seatbelt, you are violently sucked right out of the plane. You are hurled into the freezing stratosphere. No parachute. You pass out instantly. You plummet like a stone for 3 minutes of terrifying freefall. But instead of hitting concrete, you crash directly into the thick canopy of the Amazon rainforest. The branches act like a brutal, giant net. Hours later, you open your eyes. Your collarbone is shattered, but you are alive. You are the sole survivor of an exploding airplane. But your nightmare just started. You are lost alone in an unforgiving jungle. For 10 agonizing days, you walk, dodging venomous vipers and crocodiles, until you finally stumble into a logging camp. You survived falling from the sky. But what when your blood literally turns to ice? Level 5. Picture driving down a lonely dirt road in the dead of winter. It's 22 degrees below zero. Your car hits black ice and crashes into a snowbank. The engine dies. You step out into the freezing night to walk to a friend's house. The wind cuts right through you. Just 15 feet away from their front door, your body completely gives out. You collapse face first into the snow. You lay in the blizzard for 6 straight hours. The brutal cold freezes your body completely solid. The next morning, your friend finds you stiff as a wooden board, eyes frozen wide open. At the hospital, doctors can't even pierce your skin with a needle because your flesh is literally ice. You have no core temperature. They assume you are dead. They wrap you in electric heating pads to thaw you out. Hours pass. Then, the heart monitor beeps. You slowly open your eyes and casually ask for water. You literally came back from the dead. But surviving the cold is passive. What happens when you fight a monster? Level 6. You are scuba diving in crystal clear water. Suddenly, a massive, dark shadow blocks out the sunlight. Before you can look up, a heavy, fleshy force slams into you. The world goes pitch black. You feel an immense, crushing pressure surrounding your entire body. You reach out in the dark water, but you don't feel sharp teeth. You feel a massive, slimy, moving muscular wall. You realize the horrifying truth. You have just been swallowed whole by a 40-ton humpback whale. You are trapped deep inside its closed mouth, entirely encased in darkness. The giant creature starts shaking its head violently. You are stuck inside for 30 agonizing seconds, wondering if it's going to crush you or swallow you alive. Suddenly, you see a thin sliver of sunlight. The massive whale breaches the ocean's surface and violently spits you out into the open air. You hit the water, completely unharmed. You survived the belly of the beast. But what if the beast is an unstoppable machine? Level 7. You are commercial scuba diving near a massive underwater concrete wall. But what you don't realize is that this is the active water intake pipe for a nuclear power plant. The ocean current shifts. A terrifying suction force grabs your body. You are violently sucked headfirst into a dark, narrow underwater pipe. You are traveling at an incredible speed through complete darkness, smashing against the hard, curved walls. You realize with absolute horror that this pipe leads directly to the massive, spinning, metal turbine blades of the power plant. You are seconds away from being chopped into 1,000 tiny pieces. You travel through this pitch-black tunnel for 5 solid minutes. The water pressure is deafening. Then, suddenly, the narrow pipe widens. The water slows down. You are violently spat out into a calm, glowing indoor pool. You manage to bypass the deadly spinning turbines by sheer, impossible luck. You survived, but every story so far has been over relatively quickly. What happens when the terror lasts for over a year? Level 8. You are a simple fisherman. You head out on a small, open fiberglass boat. Out of nowhere, a massive, violent storm hits. Giant waves toss your tiny boat around. Your engine dies. The storm passes, but you are completely adrift. No radio. No sail. Zero food. Days turn into weeks. The Coast Guard stops looking. You have to survive in a vast, floating blue desert. You catch raw fish with your bare hands. When it doesn't rain, the thirst is so unbearable, you are forced to drink the blood of sea turtles just to keep your kidneys functioning. The blazing sun bakes your skin until it physically peels off. The isolation cracks your mind. You imagine conversations with people who aren't there. Months pass. Your clothes completely rot off your body. Then, one day, you see a faint green shape on the horizon. Land. You swim to the shore of a remote coral atoll. You just spent 438 days lost at sea. You survived the longest recorded solitary survival at sea in human history. I look at these stories, and I honestly don't know if I would have the willpower to make it through even one of them. You just witnessed the absolute limits of human endurance. You might think you would immediately give up in these terrifying situations. But deep inside your DNA, buried under all our modern comfort, there is a primal survival instinct you haven't even unlocked yet. You are a biological machine built to endure the impossible. You are much harder to kill than you think. Keep that in mind the next time you step outside.